Hello, everybody. Welcome to SDEV 265. I'm Chris. Feel free to call me Chris. Oh, there's Ken. Yeah, so don't worry about formalities. I do go by my first name. Just call me Chris. Hey, Ken, how you doing? Haven't seen you since last summer.
Yeah, how you doing, Chris?
Doing very well. We're just getting started here. Welcome to class. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. I know Friday night, 6 o'clock, kind of probably the end of a long week for everybody. But hopefully we're going to have a lot of fun in this class. It's a very project-based class, and making big projects can be a lot of fun. So I've been looking forward to it. To start off with, Skip is going to give come in and say hi to everybody, and then we'll get started with our class stuff.
Hey everybody, this is Skip Honert. I know some of your names. I think I know two people. Actually people, but I know more than that many names. I don't know everybody though. I'm the Dean of the School of IT for the Sellersburg campus of Ivy Tech. I was at one point the software development chair, so you guys are near and dear to my technical heart, what's left of my technical heart. So I just wanted to come to the classes that wanted to have me, and Chris was one of them. And welcome you all back to Ivy Tech for this spring, to thank you for coming back to Ivy Tech this spring. I'm assuming that y'all have been here for a while since you're in SDEV 265. This is kind of the capstone for the SDEV program. There is CPIN 279, the capstone course for all of the School of IT minus the VisCom programs. But SDEV 265 is largely the programmatic capstone. It's, as Chris alluded to already, a very project-based, a very big picture-based course, and I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. I just wanted to come in really very briefly and just say thanks again for coming back. Commiserate with you a little bit over the way things are right now, just because of the pandemic, because of virtual classes. I'm hopeful, and if the rates continue to go down and the surge is kept in check, and there's a whole bunch of ands here still, but you all would maybe be able to get to campus if you wanted to. This is a virtual class, which means there is no on-campus requirement, period, for the entire term. It will be taught online, and Chris will talk to you all about that if you need that. But it might be that you all decide it would be cool if we can get into the lab, every other Friday or every fourth Friday, or maybe just once or twice or whatever. And I'm hopeful that we can at least make that an option for you, for those that can and want to come. And if we don't make that an option, or that's not an option that's made available to us, then we roll with the changes, as it were. So again, anyway, thank you all for being here. Thanks for being in the class. I think you're gonna have a great time in this class. Thanks for being here on Friday night. I think Friday nights are not as big a deal once you move into adulthood, maybe, as they were when you were 16. But it's still a little bit weird to be thinking about being in class on a Friday night. So I appreciate you all being here. That includes Chris as well. I appreciate all of you all being here tonight for this class. And then if you ever have any questions or whatever in your syllabus, as you know already, but as Chris will review with you, you've got his contact information. You'll see him weekly. You've got the chair's contact information. And if you need my contact information, you can get that as well. And reach out anytime, whether it's programmatic stuff, graduation stuff, course specific stuff. I'm taking this other class through Ivy Online, and I'm having some questions about blah, blah, this or blah, blah, that, anything like that I can help you with, just let me know, please. Other than that, thanks a lot. I'll throw it open to any questions that you might have while you've got me here as a captive audience. And hearing none, I will go ahead and sign off and leave you all to your class. Thank you for having me, Chris. Thank you for listening to me, everyone else.
All right. Thank you, Skip. Are you coming to that other class Monday still?
Yeah, I'm planning to be there Monday, and it'll be about the same level of briefness, maybe slightly longer, just because it's a first semester class. But I've got another meeting at 1:15, so
so it'll be brief.
The plan will be to make it brief. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks all.
Thank you. I will see you Monday. Have a good weekend. All right. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Fridays, I was kind of sitting around wondering that after I saw the schedule. When Lourdes sent the email asking me about teaching classes, I didn't look at the dates on them. I was just like, oh, yeah, those classes will work. And then Then when the schedule came out, I was like, oh, 6 o'clock on a Friday. That seems a unusual time for a class, but also this is a very project-based class. So what we're going to be doing is this afternoon, just like an hour or two ago, I went ahead and clicked the button to randomly split you all up into groups, and each one of your groups is going to work on a big, huge project through the whole semester. So, and yeah, we'll kind of get into that. It was an 8-module. The statewide course shell was set up in 8 modules, and we're scheduled for a 16-week class. So it's kind of like you're going to have 2 weeks for each module, which is probably a very welcome change, because I know some classes go through a module a week, or they might mix and match and do more than one module some weeks and switch around. But basically, we'll have 2 weeks for each one of the modules, so the things are going to be spread out. But there is kind of a lot of work involved. We'll talk about it here in a few minutes after the syllabus. It is kind of the paperwork class. Right? We've seen bits and pieces of all the documentation and different forms to get filled out along the way, and that's kind of a big deal in this class. So that's what there's a lot of time. We want to spend a lot of time working on those. But to get started with, I thought we'd go over the syllabus and address course policies quickly. Does anybody have any questions getting started with?
Nope.
Oh, okay, so I don't hear any questions. Let's see, I'll go ahead and share screen. And pull up the syllabus for this course. At least hit a few key points here. Oh, and every instructor is a little bit different about it. Personally, I like to see faces and hear voices. So if you want to unmute your mic and turn your camera on, I would be very happy with that. That way I can see what you look like, and if you have any questions, just speak up, because, well, you can see I have the big chalkboard behind me. This is where I've done my math for years, and it has worked out really, really well since moving to the virtual format. Been useful for that, but a lot of times I'll be standing over there. So if that little blue raise hand symbol or whatever, I might not see that, or I might not see everything that pops up in the chat room. So if you have any questions, just speak up immediately. Something in the chat room now. Yeah, y'all are all pretty far along. I think you're aware that when Zoom and Google Chrome both try to ask the CPU for as much memory as possible. And so whenever there's going to the browser while during a Zoom call, it tends to slow things down. I saw something pop up in the chat, but it's not popping up here. I'm gonna hit stop. Oh, there it is. Okay, that's fine, Corey. Do you go by Corey, by the way? Okay. I'm gonna make sure and try to catch everybody's names. That way I say the right thing. Most of us are used to, we might not go by the same thing that the paperwork says our name is. I was trying to keep the chat open and it keeps closing on me. Yeah, that's a name that often confuses people. All the way through school, from like kindergarten to senior year for me, there was a male and a female Corey the whole time. So since I was like 5 years old, I'm used to that just being one of the names that, not really a gender specific name. Okay, just going to hit some key points on the syllabus here. I assume everybody knows how to read. There's my contact information. The phone is always in my pocket, and I probably forgot to turn it down. I sure did. Okay. The phone's always in my pocket. So text messages and IB Learn messages from the inbox make a noise on my phone. I get way too many emails to have everything notifying me on my phone. But text messages and the IB Learn inbox will make a noise immediately on my phone. And like so many people, I'm pretty much sitting at home all the time anymore. So I have one other class that I'm teaching this semester on Mondays and Wednesdays, and then doing a little bit of tutoring virtual for school as well. But in general, anytime you have a question, you can get a hold of me and you can jump on Zoom very, very quickly. On Sundays, I'll have office hours, which will be in the course chat room, which I apparently forgot to turn on. I will turn that on after class. Course chat room. If you haven't seen the IB Learn chat room, it's a very basic one. There's just a spot to type. You type words, hit enter. There's no special features, a very stripped down chat room. But I have more than one class and I can only be on one Zoom call at a time. So I do the office hours on Sunday, because I find that's when a lot of people are doing their homework in the chat room, but we can jump on a Zoom call if you want to come in for that. Some supervisor information. This section here, unfortunately, has changed. Does anybody know Cliff White? If y'all have been around for a couple years, he's a very friendly guy. He passed away last weekend. So I don't know whose name's supposed to go there yet. But I'll get that updated whenever there's something else. Some disability support information. There's, I think everybody's a few semesters in, but I'll go ahead and say the big thing is if you're coming out of high school, or maybe some people might still be in high school. I'm not sure everybody's situation, but if you're coming fresh out of high school, in high schools, they'll do all the disability information for you. It's automatic. At college, it's not. So if you need some accommodations, please contact the disabilities office and they'll let me know what to do. The Student Success Centers, where tutoring is available. It's all virtual right now. There's not really much going on campus. Like, there's only what I've heard. I haven't been by because it sounded like they don't want people there at all right now. Is there's only one door unlocked and there's a person standing at that door taking people's temperature before you're even allowed in the building right now. Hoping to reevaluate that the first week of February or something is what was the last thing I heard. But yeah, pretty much everything's virtual right now, but the Student Success Center has lots of help available, math help, writing help quite often, different business subjects, science things. There's help for lots and lots of subjects available, including IT. I'm only in there 1 hour a week, but there are some other people that help with IT as well. So there's help for things that might be related to this class. And like I mentioned a moment ago, it's kind of a big paperwork class. We're going to be going over a lot of the paperwork that goes along with our big projects and stuff. So there's quite a bit of writing help available there as well. If you want to run it by a writing tutor to check for grammar and typos and things. This label is new. They sent it out in an email that said syllabus information. And since we're not on campus right now, I can't really ask a whole lot of people about it, but several of these links were ones that have already been around for assistance programs and like the counselor there on campus. So it's one of the places about the help thing, help available. I don't know every single detail, but I know like the assist one that I'm getting ready to click on here in a moment, and the link to reach out to the counselor there on campus, counselor therapist there on campus. Those links are included in that. So I think they just consolidated a bunch of things is what that Ivy Cares one is. This one I always like to point out, Ivy Assist. Have you all seen this one before? This is a really useful program because from time to time, everybody needs a little bit of help, right? And in our society, there's a lot of help available. I think most everybody's probably familiar with the mountain of paperwork that it takes to get that help, right? All the forms that have to be filled out, and you might spend hours digging around just to find out if there's anything available. So somebody went and consolidated things. So this isn't like a direct application, but this is a consolidation with links to the applications and things like that to see if help's available. So you just put in your zip code. I'm in Clarksville, so I'll put in a zip code for Clarksville here. And this will pull up all of the assistance programs available right near Clarksville for me. So like transit, if you need help making car payments, or some program to help pay for gas mileage, which we aren't driving so much now, but that's a big one for people that drive to campus a lot. If you're coming from way out in Harrison, Washington County, Crawford County, you have a long drive. For education, there's assistance for things like gas. And it's just a list of all the programs that are available. So it's not a direct application or help with housing, different food things, all the food pantries in the area, stuff like that. But a consolidation of the programs, the help that is available. That way you don't have to spend hours just looking around trying to figure out if there is help for what you might need help with. So that is a very, very useful thing, because everybody needs a little help from time to time. The book looks like this. Everybody's seen that book, Software Engineering by Somerville. Is not a lot of pictures. Some very, very good information in there. Definitely the sort of textbook that you want to make sure you have plenty of caffeine before you sit down and start reading. Because it's, like I said, it's about paperwork and things like that. So it's a textbook about the paperwork that goes along with software engineering. So not the most interesting read, but incredibly useful information. And they present it very well there. So that's the books for the class. So there's reading assignments every week. But again, we're in an 8-module class spread out over 16 weeks. So it's quite a bit of time. The course objectives and things. I always like to point this one out. Y'all can read most of this, but on every syllabus, you'll see this section, major course learning objectives. Y'all are probably coming near graduating, so might be a little bit late, but this is the list of things you're supposed to learn from every class. And not just for this class, but every one of your classes, you always want to check that list as you get near the end. Make sure you learn the things you're supposed to learn from the class. Because if it's a prerequisite for something you want to make, when you go into that next class, they're going to assume that you learned everything on that list. So just keep that in mind, and near the end of the semester, take a glance at that list. And if you have any questions, those are definitely the questions that should be asked. Make sure you understand everything on that list. Things that are supposed to be learning. So now into some policies. So, well, obviously, this is our scheduled time, right? 6 o'clock on a Friday evening. And basically, there's a big project is what we're going to do. We're going to split up into groups, and each group is going to work on a big project throughout the whole semester. And I would like to meet with everybody at some point during the week. We can do it during our scheduled time here on Friday evenings, but if your group decides that there might be a better time through the week that you all would like to meet with me, let me know, and we'll try to line up schedules and find a time. I would like to meet with everybody through the week. If it helps, you can think about it like, in a real world scenario where your team's working on your project once a week, you got to report to management on how it's going. A progress report, even if there's not a whole lot of progress, just that check-in. So I'll be here every Friday, 6 o'clock. We're probably not going to go to 10 o'clock every time. Yeah, it's a lecture lab class, so that's also a good time for lab. You know, if this is open on your schedule, it's a good time for your group to meet and work on the project stuff, or meet with me. And I'll be here every Friday at 6 o'clock. But for that weekly check-in, it doesn't necessarily have to be here. If there's a better time for all the members of your group, just let me know, and we'll work something out. But otherwise, yeah, I'll be here talking about stuff every Friday at 6 o'clock, and probably about an hour and a half. I'm going to say an hour, maybe hour and a half at the longest, and that'll probably be, but I don't think we'll even go that far. So it'll also be a good time for your group to get together and work if everybody's, you know, has this open on their schedule at that time. The grades, I just kept the default message in there. Y'all can read that. For those who have had me before, the due dates are different than my normal due dates. Some things are still the same. Basically, this whole class is around the project. So every module, there's another deliverable. So essentially every other week, you're going to have some big stack of paperwork to turn in. And the due dates are listed, and late work will only be accepted for 7 days. And there's a point deduction every day. So try to get it on time. We have basically 2 weeks to do every module is spread out over 2 weeks. So there should be plenty of time to get all the stuff together. And a computer's keeping track of that. So it's due at 11:59. So that means if the clock goes over to 12, the computer's going to take 5% off because the calendar says it's the next day. Machines aren't intelligent. They don't work with stuff. But at the same time, well, the next paragraph there, the makeup policy, I understand things happen. I'm a pretty laid back person, so just let me know. Earlier is better too. If you know something's going to happen, let me know. We can work something out. I'm a big believer that there are things in life a lot more important than classrooms. Family should definitely always take priority. It's one of the things I believe. So the attendance drop, that's not going to apply to everybody because everybody showed up for class tonight. So there's don't have to worry about that second one. If you want to drop the class, the deadline is February 1st. And hopefully you've heard before, the difference between a drop and a withdrawal is a drop is like you never signed up for the class. You know, that's like those things where the first week it's like, oh, whoops, I already took this course. I didn't mean to check that box when I was scheduling. So you drop it and switch to the class you're supposed to be in. And it never shows up on your record. Whereas a withdrawal, it's still on your transcript. It just, the transcript shows that you didn't finish the class. And we can withdraw up to the middle of April, it looks like. But hopefully this class is going to be a lot of fun because this is a big project-based class, right? And y'all are going to pick the project you want to work on yourself, which will hopefully make it even more fun. We'll talk about that here in just a moment. Some other stuff. I left the default message in here from the generic statewide Ivy Tech syllabus as I'll respond within 36 hours. But I'm one of those people that checks my email 20 times a day, for those who haven't had me in class before. So if you don't hear from me in like 6 hours, something bad might have happened. I'm constantly checking my email. In any way you can find to get a hold of me is fine. There's the official communication channel is going to be the Ivy Learn inbox, and that does make noise on my phone. So I will get back to you very, very quickly from the inbox or from a text message. But pretty much any way you can think to contact me to get the message to me is acceptable. Yeah, then let's see. Readings every week because yes, there's some very valuable information in the book. It's really, really good information. Again, it's a textbook about the documentation and the paperwork, so you might want to make sure you have plenty of caffeine or something when you sit down to read that good information, just because of the content of what it is. So but it's stretched out over 16 weeks, so it shouldn't be too bad to keep up on the reading. Some quizzes, I think almost one quiz a week. There were some extra points. The online version has a requirement for points for being in class. But I took those away and put in a couple discussion boards. I guess we can talk about those real quick. So you'll notice here, it says there are 4 discussion boards. And if we come up here and click the link for discussions, so the internet's going really, really slow, but eventually this page will pull up and you'll notice there's only 2 discussion boards here, but it says 4. So your group also, when we split up in groups, your group pages, your group has your own discussion board section. So I'm kind of expecting that you all will be discussing amongst your group there. And I was going to put some points on there. With that being said, if you all decide to use a different form of communication, make sure and let me know. That way you don't just miss out on those points. But yeah, there's like 2 class ones, and then I was just going to put some points on for the groups. The other 2 count from the group discussion stuff somewhere, was my thoughts. And that's just making up for something from the online class that I want to bring over. And this other one, those who have had me before have probably seen this assignment. I'll tell you the story behind it. So 2 summers ago, I guess, the VP for School of IT from all the Ivy Techs across the state was down this way, and she met with all of us. And before that, she'd gone out had some lunch with some bunch of people around Louisville, different tech companies and stuff. And there was a comment made, and some other people agreed with the comment after it was made about how certain people had finished a 4-year program and then ended up not getting hired because right as they graduated that 4-year program, their knowledge was 6 years out of date. That's a long time in IT, right? There's big changes in IT, and which it takes a while to put a curriculum together, get everything up and going. That does take time. It's understandable. But at the same time, when she was telling us this story and I heard about these people graduating with 4-year degrees and their technology being, their knowledge out of date, I thought, well, that's a really easy thing to fix. So you'll have to write an essay on the newest technology. You'll pick 3 technologies from the last 6 months, which if you weren't aware, there's been a lot of technological breakthroughs while everybody's sitting at home, working from home. So there's a lot of stuff to choose from, and just write a paragraph or so on each, like a page or 2 report. I put it in module 1, but yeah, I always get that out in classes anymore, just to keep up on technology. Then that's important no matter what field you're going into. You always need to keep up on stuff. But
so the idea is then when they're done with a 4-year program, they'll be 2 years out of date?
Well, this is just to keep you up on, this.
Just getting back there a bit, but yeah. Just
yeah, I was hoping this would give you all a leg up on the 4-year people.
Yeah.
If the 4-year people are 6 years out of date, and the stuff, the newest technologies, that's kind of a leg up going in. Mm-hmm. But also just the idea of, even if you're continuing on to a 4-year school, you want to keep up to date on your field, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, you want to know what the newest, latest stuff is, because especially for software development, the newest, latest stuff is going to make your life a whole lot easier. It's usually improvements.
Yeah, I just wanted to poke at that for the fun of it.
Yeah. So is the essay due at the end of module 1 or at the end of the class?
At the end of the semester. I put it in module 1 just to get it out there, but it is due the last day of the semester.
All right.
So you have till, I think it's May 15th.
That's nice.
And yeah, just a page or 2, just a paragraph or 2 about each 3 different technologies, and keep up to date on what's in the field. So that's kind of the key points from the syllabus. Any questions about those? Okay, so next thing I have on my list here is talking about groups. So somewhere on Ivy Learn, you all should see a button about groups. Do you all see that on your pages?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure how long it took. I wanted to wait till kind of the last minute, but I just clicked the button for random assignment. There should be 3 groups. Waiting on the Wi-Fi. Okay, here we go. And yeah, the person listed as group leader, that is completely random. That you all will, it's for you all to choose who's in charge of the group. But Ivy Learn made me put some. Ivy Learn said there had to be a group leader assigned, so I'm guessing it's probably alphabetical or something. I don't know how they chose that, but yeah. So everybody's been assigned into groups, and I think I can open one of them. Oh, that's not it. Visit group homepage. Yeah, so when you go in that group stuff, you'll be able to see a page, something like this. There you get the pictures out of the way, the little Zoom keeps putting things in the way. So there's a discussion section. So this is where I was going to pull those other points for the other 2 discussion boards out of, assuming y'all are leave messages for each other or something there and pull them out of there. Or if you all decide on a different form of communication for your group, just make sure and let me know. That way you can still get those points. You'll see the people in group. Collaborations tab is very useful. You can go ahead and set up Google Docs and spreadsheets, the Google Sheets and slides and all that. Have that stuff where y'all can collaborate online. So a lot of tools are there for that. And yeah, then I would like to meet with your group once a week, just, kind of a check-in, see how it's going, whether we do it at class on Friday nights or some other time through the week. It'll be up to you. We might have to, you all know how that goes. Sometimes takes a little trial and error to find a time that works for everybody, but we can find something. So once a week, the groups, you all can look through that and communicate with your group partners. You'll want to figure out what sort of project you want to make. Does anybody have anything in mind already about big projects they might want to make?
A game of chess, maybe?
Games can be fun. Big games, yeah.
How big a project do you need for this course?
Kind of expecting something fairly big because it's a 16-week course.
Mm-hmm.
And 16-week course, and everybody's working in groups, so we should be able to get quite a bit done.
Yeah, so we have to have like a database connected with it and have the program running and stuff, or is it just kind of a
so kind of a big program, database. Well, it's kind of hard to say exactly because some things are a lot more complicated than others. So whenever your group decides on something and submits it to me, then we'll go, then we'll look thing by thing and decide if it looks good. But we're and kind of expecting a fairly big project because, like I said, it's 16 weeks to work on it, and you're going to work in groups. So divvy up the work. So there should be be able to get quite a bit of stuff done. And also there's a lot of documentation and stuff to do that.
Do you have any preference on how the format, if it needs to be like an executable or like a web page, or do you have any preferences on that?
Depends on what the project is.
Okay.
So it's, if your group decides on a project, software development covers a wide spectrum of things.
And it can be in whatever language we choose as a group.
Yep.
Probably
Yeah,
several,
groups.
depending on what it is.
Oh, yes, yes. Very rarely do we only work in one language, right?
Yeah.
Y'all have probably seen that now. It's very, very unusual that we only work in one language. We take the strengths of different ones and intermingle them, put them together so that we kind of optimize what's going on.
And do you have any restrictions on pulling in any kind of frameworks or other tools to be able to help the project, like maybe help speed up development of a few things?
I hadn't really thought about that because that's a normal tool for the job.
Okay.
If I'm understanding your question correctly, like for like the documentation using Doxygen, is that what you're talking about?
I'm assuming we're gonna build a full-fledged project. So like, for instance, like the framework for Java, Spring framework, and like stuff like that.
Yes. Yeah, not going to start from scratch.
Okay.
But yeah, so yeah, those are standard tools for the industry. So that's something your group will decide which ones you want to work with and stuff. Okay. And it's kind of going to be kind of up to you. And then whenever the first request document, the proposal request thing comes in, then or not request, requirements for a documentation. When that comes in, that's the first thing. That's the one that I'll sign off on. Give either sign off or give some notes about it needs to be bigger, or that's going to be a stretch to get in 16 weeks, and then we'll get a little bit more refined on that.
Okay.
Which, if we look at the due date for that, that's another thing. Not that class. I clicked the wrong thing, and now I have to wait for the. Eventually, I'll get back to the right button. Sorry about that. I think everybody in here has had SDEV 153 already, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the latest book for that, the 10th edition, apparently isn't available in paper. It's only on Revell. Where was it going? Oh, under modules. It'll be over here. Oh, I might as well point out this out while I'm here. So a couple things. All these Zoom meetings are being recorded. I see everybody found it okay. You'll notice there's two links. There's the link here that says Zoom, the blue one. I don't have any control over that page at all. So I create my own page for the Zoom stuff that I do have control over. So this is where I will post all the recordings. Usually about 20 minutes or so after it ends is when they send out the link, and I'll post it on there. Also, pre-recorded videos. I'm not sure at this moment if I'll have a whole lot for this course, but depending on what projects are selected and whatnot, I might put some stuff on there. I think right now there's a greeting from Skip, the pre-recorded greeting he sent out, and then I made a quick video accessing the campus machines. Does everybody have an account with the school's machines? If you all have been here for a couple semesters, you probably do, right? Not the Ivy Tech one. The rooms 158 and 162 at Sellersburg. Oh yeah. Well, now that it's virtual, everybody might not be from Sellersburg. For anybody not from Sellersburg, our Sellersburg campus, the IT department, we have our own network. So our two computer labs don't use the regular Ivy Tech username and passwords. There's a temporary login to get to our computer labs. And if you don't have an account and think you might need to remote access it at some point, you might want to go ahead and set up an account, because temporary password is only going to be here for a week or two. And if you might need to access it later, that could cause a bit of a delay. But there's a lot of software on there, things you might need. And I made a short video about it, but There's also a PDF of written instructions. It's very straightforward, remote access. And I always say, even if you don't need to, maybe do so at least once, because you're about to get an IT degree, so you should probably be familiar with remote access stuff. Make sure you know how to do all that. And if just in case you might, at least once, and then see what software is on there, just in case you need it, and maybe set up a temporary password. If you don't already have an account, for the password, we ask that you use your C number. That way we can look it back up and keep track of it on just the School of IT labs. So that's room 158 and 162. Let's see. So that was a little bit of a sidetrack from what I was actually going to, the assignment.
Why would you do remote access to campus machines?
Just in case you need it for some reason, if there's software that you don't have, it's just available. The only time I've used it a number of times, the only time I actually needed to do it was last semester. I taught the SDEV 140 class, and I did not want to put Visual Studio on my own computer. So I used the Visual Studio on the school's computers.
And I'm assuming
All right.
by machine, I'm assuming you mean just like the ones we would have in the labs normally.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It is the lab computers.
Okay.
They're all numbered there, so you probably still log on to the same one that you always set at before.
Yeah.
It's very straightforward, and if you're going into IT, pretty much the only thing that can't be done remotely in every field across IT is plugging cables. So if you're doing anything, software development,
Can I record this while I go and get something to eat?
Oh yeah, the meeting's being recorded, so you'll be able to pull up that recording later.
Oh, okay.
It will be posted shortly after class. I will post it here on where it says course Zoom room.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so if you're hungry and need to get some food, if you worked all week, been a long week, it's 6 o'clock on a Friday, that's fine. And then the recordings will be posted shortly after class. So I was going for this first one. Oh yeah, there's the new technology report. It's in module 1, but it's not due till the end of the semester. So you have about 5 months to find something interesting, find 3 interesting technologies. So the first one is this requirements document. So that's going to be the first thing your group puts together. We're getting ready to look at that quickly here. What you're going to make and what you'll need to do and what your expectations and assumptions and things. It's due on February 12th, but on the assignment, when you click on that, you'll notice that it mentions turn it in early, and that goes along with that meet with me once a week thing. That way I'm not taken by surprise by what you want to make at that last minute. We can make changes before the final version is due. Like the rubric even says, the first and second submission. So you'll turn it in to me and get a bunch of marks on it, and then fix those and return it in. So the final version everything should have good grades. Yeah, so it'll be turned in twice, which is at some point meeting with me before then. So that's the first thing to do. The book talks about that and some other things. So I wanted to talk about requirements document. Does anybody have any questions about that before we leave IB Learn here? All that stuff's on there. If any questions show up at any point, feel free to get a hold of me. So in the real world, like doing jobs, I'm not such a fan of templates, but in the classroom, I am a huge fan of templates because that piece of paper will tell you exactly what to write on it, right? It's a great learning tool. So that's going to be my recommendation on these. Look for templates. That makes it easy. Then you just go through and fill up the templates. And whoops, I forgot to probably want to put the word free in there, right? You don't need to go spend money on templates. So I'm just going to click on one of these, pull one up, and kind of look at what the first thing your group's going to work on is. Probably going to take forever to load. Yeah, also sites like this where they have a bunch of templates are also really, really useful for explaining what goes in that particular document. There it is, business requirements document. I'll just click on this first one here and we'll take a look at that. Which side am I on? Template Lab. Okay, yeah, I downloaded it. Usually this site, Template Lab, it pops up an ad and it doesn't download until you close the ad. That's kind of a new thing that I've seen a few places lately. So just be aware of that. If it doesn't seem to be downloading, if it like shows you an ad, it doesn't seem to be downloading, close the ad and then it downloads. When I first saw it, I thought, that was one of the more clever things that's happened in software development over the last year or so. It's a good idea to make sure people look at the advertisement or whatever. You can see, like, just on that, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13 different templates. You can kind of go through and look at some of those. That is downloading really, really slow. Yeah, which is one thing to give you an idea of how, this isn't a small project proposal. This isn't one paragraph saying, yeah, I'm gonna make a web-based app or something. There's quite a bit more in here. You can see from the size here. 2 megabytes on the template. So pretty big template. All of them are probably pretty big like that. That was 400. I guess I could have downloaded one of the small ones, but I think it's almost finished now. You'll probably go ahead and open Google Doc. Since the internet's running slow, I might as well go ahead and open this so that I can open that template once it downloads. Okay, there we go. Yeah, sorry. Google Chrome and Zoom are both huge RAM hogs. Both of them ask the CPU for as much RAM as it can spare. So if both of them are running at the same time, it tends to slow everything down a little bit. But by this point, everybody's probably noticed that, right? Has everybody had virtual classes before?
Yeah.
I've had several.
Yeah, I see some head nods.
First time I've used Zoom though, for a class. I use like several other versions of live streaming in the past.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them out there. Zoom has really small file size, so it transmits better. That's the thing about. That's why Zoom's so popular, is because it's so much smaller.
Yeah, it was like Blackboard at one point, and then I think there was another version of something else that IU Tech used, and now Zoom seems to work better than the other one so far, though.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with Zoom. It's and the file size is small, so like I never had internet at my house. I live in the middle of Clarksville, so for decades there's been hundreds of places with free Wi-Fi within a mile or so of my house. So I never paid that bill, and then when everything shut down, I had to teach classes virtually, and had to wait an extra month and a half for Spectrum to reorganize all their policies and stuff, just so I could get internet turned on at my house. So I was having to use the phone for everything, which went through a whole lot of data that first month or so, trying to teach virtual classes across the phone, using up phone data. So Zoom was really nice there because Zoom is way smaller than like Microsoft Teams or some of the other ones. It has a really good transfer rate. All right, almost opened, I think. Yeah, stuff's starting to show up. So yeah, so the first thing is what's required, called a requirements document. You know, this is basically saying what does this project need? Why is this project needed? What can be done to fill out this project? All the requirements, the assumption, any assumptions that are going to be made along the way. And yeah, first thing I want to point at is over here. If the page numbers start showing up. Oh, it's still loading. Okay, there we go. You'll notice with my mouse hovering there, the template is 15 pages long. So there's a lot of information that goes in there. And that's the sort of documentation we're going to look at this semester. So you don't want to wait till the last minute to work on this. Right? You know, make sure you have enough time. If the template, before any information is put into it, is 15 pages long, that's kind of an indication that it's going to be, there's quite a bit to it, right? But for classrooms, I'm a big fan of templates. Just find a template with the group, find a template you like, and kind of fill out the stuff. And it's almost like a learning tool itself, right? The piece of paper tells you what to put on it. So it's direct, straightforward instructions, or even if you just if you're one of those people that absolutely hates templates, you can still look at one while you put your own thing together, get an idea of it. But yeah, so the documents your team's going to be putting together, you're going to have a table of contents everywhere. They're big enough that you're going to want to have links there at the beginning so people can jump around and see them. We all can look through the template, kind of see what's there. Right up at the top, there's going to be the approvals, revisions. Everybody in the group name's going to go on there. You're going to send it to me, and I'll make it some suggestions to sign off on it and stuff. And take a look at this big formal documentation that you're going to see in the working environment that there's usually not enough time for in a classroom, right? The typical program and assignment, there's not time to write a 15-page document and get the program completed. So this is a class where we're looking at a lot of that stuff. But still, it's got a couple weeks to write it, split up amongst the whole group. It shouldn't be complete. It should not be overwhelming or anything. You can scroll through, scrolling through here, you can see what's involved, stakeholders, assumptions, constraints. What do you know about it? What are the limitations on your project? Kind of want to fill all of these things out. Use cases. Everybody's seen use cases before, right? UML diagrams, but also the written version describing the stuff in there. Like here on this template I downloaded, it's all kind of set up as a table to describe all the stuff in the picture. That way there's different forms of it. Lots and lots of tables to fill out. Oh, more UML diagrams. What do we have here? Some sort of flow diagram. Yeah, process flow diagram, and different tables y'all can look through there. And hopefully it's things you've heard about before. Everybody's seen UML diagrams in different classes at some point along the way. So yeah, all the ones you're familiar with, you'll put a lot of those in there, but instead of just that simple diagram, it's going to go in the full, well, like in this case, the template's 15 pages, all the other stuff that goes with that diagram. assumptions and constraints. I really like that table because that summarizes what it is very nicely. And yeah, appendices and stuff. So that would be my recommendation for putting these together, is kind of go through those and find a template you like, download that, and kind of start working on that before too long. And all I did, I put in, what did I put in Google? That way y'all can find that same thing. Free requirements document template. That's what I searched for. And the very first result had 40 different templates. So should be fairly easy to find. So that will be the first thing. I also made a note here, page 114 in the textbook has 114 has a little table summarizing what needs to go in a requirements document. Yeah. So on 114, you'll see a big table summarizing everything that needs to go in the requirements document. But for learning environments, I'm a huge fan of templates. Like, yeah, this document tells you what to write and where to write it and all that good stuff. So that. So that was mostly what I wanted to talk about tonight, just kind of getting started. And before we leave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I was thinking, would you all like to split into groups and talk to your group partners for a few minutes? Because we can set up breakout rooms here. And then everybody, all your groups can get together and talk to each other right now off the bat. That way you don't have to have emails and stuff. And if you want, okay, I'll open up some breakout rooms. And if your group would like to, let me know, and I will set up a Zoom session for you. You have to have an account to schedule meetings. I don't know if y'all have the account that can schedule them, but I can schedule a meeting for you and make everybody in your group an alternative host. That way you can meet face to face as well as through documentation. But for now, I'm going to open up breakout rooms. So there were 3 groups. There's 8 people, so it's 2 groups of 3 and 1 group of 2. 2, 3. Assign manually, create. And well, I'm going to share my screen again so that I can see the list. Can y'all see that thing that says breakout rooms on my screen?
I don't see anything.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it's a Zoom menu, so I figured Zoom probably wasn't showing their own thing. Okay, I probably should have just left Ivy Learn open. I need to pull up the list of who's in each group. Because it was random assignment. When I assigned groups, I just clicked the button, said create 3 groups. And when I hit enter, it said a group leader must be assigned. So I clicked the button for random assignment on group leader. So obviously y'all are going to want to decide amongst your group who will be the group leader for your group.
So is there like a special role for the group leader?
Not really. I guess since this is group work, everybody doesn't need to turn in the same thing. So maybe the group leader would be the one that actually submits the assignment, and everybody else in the group gets credit for it. But there's not anything specific. Ivy Learn just made me list somebody as a group leader. But that's something people do naturally anyway, right? Anytime you put a group of people together, somebody's going to stand out. So let's see. I got pictures and all kinds of stuff in the way here. Put that over there. So That's in the way. There it is. Okay, so group 1 is Craig and Josh. Okay, there we go. So Craig and Josh and Corey. And group 2. Yeah, I missed my second screen. The blackboard and stuff's in my gym, not in my office. So I can't bring my second screen. I don't have any place to bring my second screen in. So group 2 is Zachary, assigned to room 2, and Trevin, assigned to room 2, and Kenny, assigned to room 2. Well, and obviously it's got to be the last 2 here, but Jeff and Devin. Okay, everybody see your little button that says join room, join breakout room, something like that?
Yeah, I see mine.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, if you all want to go in there and just talk amongst yourself and kind of get started figuring out what to do, thinking about what you're going to do. Are you still there, Jeff? You ain't got some food, didn't you? Oh. Okay, so while everybody's in there, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.